Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. How will population shifts affect us in the years ahead? Today, Ken Gronbach, author of Upside, will tell us. Ken, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, my friend.
Ken, you have indicated that you've been studying demographics for 4 decades. Now, I'll be honest, most of us don't know what that word demographics means, so can you help us out a little bit?
My daughter, excuse me, my daughter's riding in the backseat of our car, in our Volvo wagon, when she was 15 years old. She's 24 now. And her friend leans over and asks her, what does your dad do? Didn't ask me. And my daughter said, he's a demographer. And the friend paused and said, is that kind of like an accountant or an economist? Thought it was a very astute question. And I said, come on, Libby, give her a good answer. And my daughter thought for a moment. She said, no, accountants and economists count money and stuff. My dad counts people, and people are more important than money and stuff. So that's what I do.
Oh, she got a good birthday present that year.
Yeah.
So you keep track of people, okay.
Yep.
Now, the good news for us, as I read in your book, you say we're in the eye of the perfect demographic storm in North America, but it's not so good for other people. So can you tell us what that means?
Well, there's this concept in demographics called replacement level fertility. And
I talk about that a lot during lunch.
Well, replacement level fertility is about 2.1, 2.2 kids per couple. And if you fall below that, your country gets in trouble. If you're above that, you're fine, especially with market economies. The United States right now has the millennial generation, or the Generation Y, born 1985 to 2004, is the largest generation ever born in the United States. They're currently 13 to 32 years old. They're just now starting, getting married, starting households, and when you do the math, in a nation of 330 million people, the largest part of which are baby boomers and their kids, roughly 80 million baby boomers and 86 million of their kids. As the kids move out, there's nowhere for them to live. So we're about 25 million houses short of our needs, or housing units. So we know from 2008 that housing is the economy and the economy is housing. So housing and starting of households is going to drive our economy. It's going to cause it to spike, and it's not going to look back for 20 years. So it can't get much better than that. But it does, because there's more good news. And at the other end of our population, we have the baby boomers, who are currently 53 to 72. They are now the largest generation ever to retire. And they're not only are they retiring and moving south and buying second homes that'll eventually become their homes.
By the way, by south you mean Florida and the southern part of the country, right?
Yeah, well...
Not underground.
No. By south, I mean, if you went from down the East Coast, starting in Virginia, to Florida, and then went across the Gulf Coast to Texas, and then continued and went to California, and then up the coast of California, pretty much that's where the growth in the country is going to be. The Midwest and the Northeast will essentially remain stagnant population-wise, but you're going to see tremendous growth in the South and in the West. So it's very exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be a demographer, because the demographics precipitates economics. It's not the other way around.
Now,
people come first.
That's what I wanted to get at. It sounds funny, of course, when we just say you count people and how important that is, but your job is counting the people and then finding the upside of that people movement, whether it's positive, negative, left, right, up, or down. Is that kind of it in a nutshell?
That is it in a nutshell. And the boomers are going to precipitate a level of consumption that we've not seen the older part of our population do ever. Because the people who are in front of the boomers that were born 1925 to 1944, silent generation, the people who are currently 73 to 92, was the smallest generation of the last 100 years. So we're going to replace this tiny generation of elderly people with a monster generation of elderly people who are very used to consuming at tsunami levels.
Now, just to make it easy for our audience, because in preparing for the show, excuse me, I made a chart up about which group is which. The boomers would be people born, if I'm correct, and from 1945 to roughly 1964. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then after that came Generation X from 64 to 85, Generation Y from 85 to 2004.
Correct.
And Z from 2005 to 2024.
Correct. That is correct.
So X, Y, Z. So, but the boomers go way back to the 1945 and 64 for births. Now, something I'm surprised at when you said that this would be such a big plus for the economy. As people get older, don't they slow it down for what they're buying? They don't need as many new fashionable outfits, stylish things. They don't really have to keep up with the Joneses anymore. Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. But they're going to consume things that are commensurate with their age. And they're going to consume retirement. And they're going to consume retirement at a level that we've not seen before.
So that's all good for us.
It's all very good for us. Look, when right around 2009, we had about $1 trillion in savings in the United States, and now we have $9 trillion.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, and that's boomer money. I don't know whether they robbed banks or where they got it, but they didn't inherit it from their parents because their parents are already, God bless them, gone.
Ken, I'd like our audience to know, in case someone just tuned in, our guest today is Kenneth Gronbach, spelled Gronbach. He's the author of the book Upside, Profiting from the Profound Demographic Shifts Ahead. And if you're finding this interesting and want to know some more, Ken, could you tell us, is there a website and where can we get the book?
Okay, you can get the book directly from me at kgcdirect.com. That's my website, and I'll send you a signed and inscribed copy, or you can get it from Amazon.
Fair enough. And is there a website that you want to tell us about?
That's it, KGC Direct.
Oh, that's the one we can go to. Okay.
Yeah, kgcdirect.com.
And a lot of fascinating information that you'll be seeing from the years ahead. And, of course, as the subtitle says, profiting from the profound demographic shifts ahead. So this will give you kind of a lead ahead to profit on people, to see what's going to be coming up, and also to avoid some of the mistakes maybe some other groups are making. In your book, you use two terms, tsunamis and sinkholes. So to make us familiar with those, since I guess that's industry terms, can you tell us what they mean?
Well, a sinkhole is something that was experienced by the Japanese motorcycle brands in the late 80s and 90s. The Japanese motorcycles, and we happened to have, my wife and I had an advertising agency in Connecticut where we live, a regional agency. We had 140 American Honda motorcycle dealers that we represented. And we printed money with American Honda. They were wonderful to deal with. We sold bikes. The bikes would come in. We'd put them in the dealers. We'd run millions of dollars worth of advertising, and we would sell them out to the piece at asking price until 1986. The bikes came in. We put them in the dealerships. We ran the ads. And I got a call from American Honda, and they said, "Ken, did you run the ads?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "What's going on?" He says, "It's like somebody turned the faucet off." He said, "Kawasaki, Suzuki, and Yamaha all have the same problem. And it's very, very strange, archaic dinosaur of a bike called Harley is suddenly selling well. What the heck's going on?" And I said, I don't know. Between 1986, we tried everything. Between 1986 and 1992, we tried, and we came up with new products. We came up with new ads. We reduced the price on our signature bikes. And the business fell for the Japanese brand 80%, and they closed. Some people remember that. We didn't have a clue as to why. But then in 1996, we figured it out, and that was because the baby boomer had exited the very narrow demo that we sold bikes to, and that was men 16 to 24. Once the baby boomers exited that demo, there was a sinkhole. And the Japanese brands did not recover. They never knew why it happened, and they never came back.
Now that, I guess, as a good real world example, that's really what your business, what demographics is about. Am I correct? Correct.
So what we do is, you can apply that to changes in culture, changes in the economy, changes in politics, changes in commerce. It's really just numbers. It's not even algebra. This is math. This is addition and subtraction. I'll give you another example of a tsunami. You've heard of Lee Iacocca and the Mustang.
Sure.
Okay. Well, Lee Iacocca determined in 1960 that the American public, because he knew the baby boomers were coming, because he saw them coming, he saw this sea of young people, and he said, Detroit is building 6,000 pound lead sleds with big fins, and what the kids really want are lightweight two-door cars that are powerful and fun to drive. So he persuaded Ford to build the Mustang, and it came out in 1964 and a half. Now, he thought between 1964 and a half and the model year 1965, which ended in August of 65, that if he sold 100,000 units, he would be a hero. He sold 700,000 units, and he could have sold 10 times that amount, because there were for every car that came into the dealership, there were 10 people waiting with money to buy it. That's a tsunami.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
We want to know his demographics and find out more about that, because that's obviously he's doing something right there.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned demographics precipitate economics, not the other way around. Can you explain that kind of in language that we as laymen would understand better?
Yeah. Well, economics. You know, I really love to hear spokespeople on, I read the Wall Street Journal every morning, and it says Wall Street's getting jittery, or Wall Street worries about what the Fed is going to do, or Wall Street, and they attribute human qualities to non-human things. No, humans begin the process. Money is nothing more than an idea. It's paper or electrons on your computer. It is a symptom of something else, and the something else is people. People consume products. People get jittery. People change the economy. People consume. It's not economics. People precipitate money. Money does not precipitate a single person.
So if we know the demographics, we should know it's almost like knowing the conclusion to the mystery story.
That is correct. If you give you an example I use in my presentation, and I speak about 60 times a year. It's primarily what I do. You have a hot dog stand, and it's at the state fair, and you don't know whether you're going to have a good day. You're vexed. You don't know whether you should send people home and cut payroll or to buy more hot dogs. Maybe you'll have a really, really good day, but you don't know. So what do? You call an economist. He'll send you some graphs you don't understand. Do you call your accountant? He'll tell you what you did last year, and that's no good. You call me. You call a demographer, and this is the conversation. You're behind the counter in your hot dog stand. You say, Ken, I don't know whether to send people home or to buy more hot dogs. What do I do? And I say, from where you are, can you see the parking lot? And you answer me, and you say, yes. I said, describe it to me. And you say, it's filling up with school buses. And I scream at you, buy more hot dogs. That's what it is.
So you know that little kids like hot dogs, and they're going to be hungry when they get off those buses.
Listen, we have a series of populations, a series of generations in the United States, and some are big and some are small. But we do know one thing about them that is absolutely irrefutable, and that is the age, which means that populations are aging through a time continuum. So if you have a monster crop of babies, 20 years of babies, eventually you're going to have 20 years of young people, and then 20 years of middle-aged people. And as they go through life, they do some very, very predictable things. If there are large groups of them, and there are large populations and small populations, we can assume that the large populations are going to eat more food than the small populations.
All makes sense. Ken, we want to find out some more information about how we can profit from these demographics, but at this point in the show, we like to remind our listeners that you're listening to The Secrets of Success. My name is Bill Horan. The show is produced at 90.3 WHBC at Nassau Community College. We'll be right back after this brief intermission.
This portion of programming on WHPC is brought to you on behalf of the Nassau County Bar Association, helping both the public and